Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today we are baking an apple cake. An apple cake that's been in my recipe book for years, and as these things go, I had completely forgotten about it until Rachel got in touch with me via social media and said, have you heard of this? And I have heard of it. It's called an invisible cake. It's a French apple cake, and in French it's called gâteau invisible au pomme, which means invisible apple cake, and we're going to be making it today. From my understanding, it's called invisible cake because as the apples cook, they sort of disappear and meld into the cake batter, forming an invisible cake that's supposed to be absolutely stunning when sliced. You can see a little bit of the layers and of course tastes absolutely delicious. The recipe that I'm going to be adapting today comes from Smitten Kitchen, but I did find several others, including David Lebowitz's, who is an expat who lives in France and told a little bit about the history and background of the invisible cake. And he says that the French love their apple cake, and unlike us that live in the States, we often add cinnamon to apples. Cinnamon, sugar, cinnamon, and vanilla. He says in France, it's often just the apple itself shining. So today we're making apple cake that has no cinnamon in it whatsoever. And it's mostly composed of apples. So let's go ahead and get started. We are using Granny Smith's. You could also use Mutsu, but Deb over at Smitten Kitchen recommends this particular variety because it's tart, but it also is quite firm, so you'll get nice layers. And after it's cooked, it keeps its shape. Many apples, including the ones I picked with my family this weekend, the Gala and Macintosh, once they cook, they kind of mush out and they don't have any structure and will not be good for this recipe. Other good varieties for this recipe include Honeycrisp and Fuji because they retain their shape and have a good flavor. So in my research, Granny Smith comes up a lot. They tend to be quite tart. They're very crunchy apple. My kids love just eating these apples because of those reasons. They're tart and crunchy. But the Gala apples that we picked are just going to be for eating because I guess they're not that great for baking. Macintosh I love making applesauce with, but at any rate, let's go ahead and get started. So I've already weighed out my apples, and this is 2.5 pounds of Granny Smith apples. Quite a bit. But some of this weight is also peel and core, so we're going to peel them. I really like this type of peeler, harp style peeler. It makes pretty good work of things, quick work of things. So we're gonna peel. Once we've peeled the apple, cut them in half. Use my little melon scooper here and scoop out the core. Beautiful. It's a little trickier on the stem side to get the core out perfectly like that. So, one apple. Next, we're going to use a mandolin to slice our apples. If you don't have one, you can certainly use a knife. Just try to make your slices as uniform as possible. And we want the slices to be pretty thin, about 1/8 of an inch. So, great tool. Has an adjustable blade right here. And it does have a guard. Some food processors also have a blade that would make quick work of this, so use that if you've got it. So there are my apple slices, pretty thin. Those are very thin. Oh, look how perfect. So to keep our apples from oxidizing, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice as we go along. Try not to get the pits in there because we don't want those in our apple cake. So I'm going to continue doing this for all the other apples I've got. As we do more of these apples, I'm sure things go faster because you get better at it. So when we went apple picking, the apples that we could pick were just the Macintosh and the Galas. The Honeycrisp weren't ready yet, one of my favorite eating apples, along with the Cosmic Crisp. Love those too. They told us at the orchard that the Honeycrisp variety in particular enjoy cool nights and that the cool nights make them sweeter. So they were waiting for those cool nights before people could pick them. So I thought that was interesting. Didn't know that. So I'm going to continue peeling my apples and I shall be right back. Apples are prepped. They've been peeled, cored, and sliced and acidulated. We're going to set those aside and now make the batter that will glue everything together and turn this into a cake. So in a medium bowl, I'm going to add some melted butter, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, whisk that, along with some kosher salt, and 3 eggs. Boop. So stinking cute. Whisk with each addition. Look at those yolks, they're so sunny. And the last egg. Now we're going to add just a little splash of vanilla. Some other recipes I saw use a little rum instead of vanilla. Flour, all-purpose. Oh, it smells so good. And finally, half a cup of milk or cream. Whisk that in. So this is a very kind of thin pancake batter, very egg heavy. Looks like a custard, doesn't it? Oh, it's beautiful. Whisk it well, make sure we get everything fully incorporated. And then I have a loaf pan here that I've already prepared. It has a parchment sling, meaning it has a piece of parchment that goes across. And then on both sides, I sprayed with some pan spray so it can get the cake out. And now what we're going to do is introduce our batter to our apples. Gorgeous. And we want to get this batter on all of the slices. And as the apples kind of exude some of their own juices, this will kind of lighten up a little bit. But just gently fold the batter in. This smells so great. A combination of lemon, butter, and vanilla. Apple too. Okay, and now we can place the apples in the pan. I'm going to arrange these a little bit into the pan where this edge goes along the side of the pan, just for a little neater look. Don't have to do this by any means. You can just dump them in, but just to make it look extra cute, I'm going to go around and do that. Then I've saved a few slices for the top. I'm going to make a little rosette just to make it look extra cute. So just arranging these around, not putting too much care into things, just, you know what I mean? Just so that it fills up the pan nicely. We don't want any voids in the cake, right? Any empty spaces. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this, and I shall come back once we have arranged this. Alrighty lovelies, here are my apple slices all arranged. I made a little pinwheel in the middle, and I'm going to bake this in a preheated 375-degree oven for 60 to 70 minutes, or until we poke it with a toothpick. It goes in nice and gently and it's not firm. And then we're going to let it cool on a rack completely before we slice into it. You can also brush this while it's warm with a little bit of apricot preserve to give a little extra sheen. So I will see you in a couple hours once our invisible cake is finished. Hope it doesn't disappear. Alrighty, see you soon. Alrighty lovelies, I am back with the finished apple cake, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. It browned up beautifully. I painted it with a coat of warmed honey to give it a glossy gleam, and now we shall taste it. Cannot wait. Okay, so after this finished baking, I've let it cool off before we slice it. So it's a little warmer than room temperature. It's just warm. That came out beautifully. A little bit of sticking, but not too much. You can pull down the sides. Oof, gorgeous. Let's go ahead and dust it with powdered sugar. If you want. Kind of covers up all the prettiness though, doesn't it? Still very pretty. Let's give it a slice. Here we go. I think this needs to be completely cold before you slice it. Okay, there we go. So this has been cooling for about an hour. I think it needs a longer cooling time to get a really clean cut. Like, it needs to be completely cooled. So it's slightly warm, so the layers are separating just a little bit. But what I'm going to do is let it cool completely, and I'll slice it again so you can see what it looks like when it's completely cooled. But look at that. Invisible cake. Let's give it another dusting of powdered sugar. Alrighty, my first taste of invisible apple cake. Itadakimasu. Mmm. Mmm. Wow. That's so nice. It's so appley and just enough sweetness in there to make it a dessert, but not be so cloyingly heavy. It's just perfectly sweetened. But the star of the show here is completely apple. The apples are tender. The batter that holds everything together has a somewhat custardy quality to it, which really goes well with the apples, which are buttery soft, yet still have some structure. They're not mealy at all. If I had made this with Macintosh apples, this would just be a pile of mush. It'd just be applesauce. But the Granny Smith apples have just enough structure to hold the cake together. Yet be beautifully tender. It's absolutely lovely. There's just a hint of vanilla in there, not too much. Complements the apples so nicely. Marvelous. This is the perfect recipe for apple picking season. If you've gone apple picking, you've got a lot of apples. As long as you have the right variety of apple, Honeycrisp would work really well in this recipe as well. You can make this fabulous, fabulous cake. With a cup of tea. I actually prefer this to apple pie. Sacrilege to say, I know, but I don't miss the crust of an apple pie at all in this situation. It's just perfectly sweetened. Some apple pies tend to be too sweet for me, or the apples are too firm. This is just right. I've eaten the whole thing already. Fantastic. Fan-stinking-tastic. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. The absolutely stunning and delicious invisible apple cake. Highly recommend this one. It's perfect for this time of year when the apples have come in. It's absolutely gorgeous and pretty simple to make. Alright, my lovelies, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for everyone to taste this. So stinking good. All right, it's heavy too, it's weighty. But first things first. You've got to prioritize things.